So if we consider the very common method, that is the treatment of a alcohol with halogen acids, and then we will get the corresponding haloalkanes. So here the main advantage of this method is this method can be applied on primary alcohol as well as secondary alcohol and also tertiary alcohols. Here X can be chlorine, bromine or iodine. So we will consider these cases where catalyst is required and where catalyst is not required. So let us first consider the transformation of the tertiary alcohols into the corresponding halides. So if you consider simple tertiary alcohol, that is the tertiary butanol, and if we want to transform it into the corresponding chloride, then what we have to do, we have to simply treat this with hydrochloric acid in absence of any catalyst, and it will give our desired tertiary butyl chloride. Right? In the same way, we can convert this alcohol into the corresponding bromide by simply treating this alcohol with hydrobromic acid, although in this time we have to perform this reaction in a boiling condition. Why boiling condition, that I will discuss, and we will get our desired product, which is the tertiary butyl bromide. And in the same way, we can get our corresponding iodide by treating this alcohol with hydroiodic acid, also in boiling condition. So these boiling conditions are not representing that these hydroiodic acid or HBr are weaker acid than the HCl. Their acidity is very high compared to HCl. But since these compounds are volatile, and that's why to remove them as soon as their formation is achieving in the reaction medium during the reaction, and that's why in order to separate them from the reaction mixture via distillation, this boiling condition actually applied. But in case of HCl, there is no need of this kind of boiling reaction condition, and this tertiary butyl chloride can be easily removed after the reaction is complete via using a separating funnel. The mechanism is obviously SN1. So if we quickly look at the mechanism, then it will be helpful for you. So first step is obviously the protonation of this OH group and thereby transforming it into a better leaving group. In the next step, that is in the rate determining step, this carbon oxygen bond will break, a water molecule will eliminate from the system, and it will generate a tertiary carbonium ion in the reaction medium. So this is our 3 degree carbocation, and then the nucleophile, which is obviously the halide, can attack either from this side or this side, but since 3 CH3 groups are there, so the product will be a achiral molecule. So it does not matter from which side the X minus is attacking, so we will get our desired product, which is the tertiary halide. So this is the overall mechanism. So as you can see, in case of tertiary alcohols, we don't need any kind of catalyst. We simply take the alcohol, treat this with the desired acid. If you want to convert the alcohol into the corresponding chloride, then you need HCl. Like that, you apply HBr or HI, and then you will get simply the corresponding halide. So now let us consider what will happen in case of primary and secondary halide synthesis. If we want to transform ethanol or cyclohexanol into the corresponding chloride, let us consider the alkyl chloride formation first, primary and secondary. Then we will go into the primary and secondary bromide and iodide. So what will be the reaction condition? We need to perform this reaction by treating these alcohols with HCl, but this time we need a catalyst, and the catalyst is zinc chloride, and this process is actually called Grove's process. So depending on the concentration of zinc chloride, two types of mechanisms are there. If the concentration of zinc chloride is high, then the mechanism proceeds via SN1 like mechanism, and if the concentration is low, then SN2 type mechanism actually operates. So let us consider both the cases. So if we consider this general formula of the alcohols, then initially this zinc chloride will interact with the OH group, and it will result in the formation of this particular intermediate. And then this carbon oxygen bond will actually break, and it will produce the carbocation along with this particular species, where zinc will be negatively charged. And then in the next step, the HCl, which will release H plus as well as Cl minus, this Cl minus will actually attack this carbocation, and thereby we will get our desired alkyl chloride, and this H plus will be attacked by this OH from this zinc salt, and thereby one molecule of water will form, and the zinc chloride will be regenerated in the reaction medium, and then it can again show its catalytic property, and like that this reaction will go on. So this is the situation when the concentration of zinc chloride is high. So what will happen when the concentration of zinc chloride is low? In that case, zinc chloride will first react with the HCl. This Cl minus will be coordinated with the zinc center, and this species will actually form, and then the alcohol molecule will be protonated by this H plus. So here the acidity of this acidity of this HCl is greatly increased via this type of coordination between the Cl minus of the HCl and the zinc center of the zinc chloride salt. And then what will happen? This will form along with the formation of these two will remain as the counter ions. So then what will happen? This zinc trichloride negatively charged anion will release one Cl minus, and this Cl minus will attack from the back side of this carbon oxygen bond, and water will leave from the system, and it will result in the formation of our desired alkyl chloride. So here the mechanism is very simple. First, the HCl is coordinating with the zinc chloride, thereby the H plus is now free, and it will interact with the OH group of the alcohol, and it will form this kind of intermediate. And the zinc chloride, which was coordinating with the Cl minus, will now release the Cl minus again in the reaction medium, and thereby forming the zinc chloride again in the reaction medium, and that's why zinc chloride can show its catalytic role again. And now the Cl minus, which is free, can act as a nucleophile and displace this OH2 plus group from this system and result the formation of our desired alkyl chloride. So this is the SN2 pathway. So initially it was SN1 pathway, where this was the rate determining step. The carbocation formation is a rate determining step for SN1, and SN2 is a one step pathway, that is the rate determining step. So these are the two mechanisms. Depending, here the zinc chloride concentration is low. So depending on the concentration of zinc chloride, the mechanisms will be different. So this is the case for the synthesis of primary and secondary alkyl chlorides. So now if we consider the same situation for alkyl bromides, then we need HBr, but this time for primary alcohols we need catalytic amount of H2SO4 concentrated. So this will eventually act as a catalyst, since the acidity of H2SO4 is higher than that of HBr, and it will protonate the OH group, and Br minus will attack this CH2 in a SN2 pathway. So I am not showing the mechanism, it is quite simple. So the product will be this one. But in case of secondary alcohols, we don't need any kind of catalyst, only HBr is sufficient. Why this is so? Because if we take the H2SO4, then since H2SO4 is a strong dehydrating agent, so it will eventually lead to the formation of the corresponding alkene by abstracting one molecule of water from this system. And that's why only HBr is used for the transformation of secondary alcohols into the corresponding bromides. So these are the two conditions for secondary and primary alkyl bromide synthesis. In case of alkyl iodide synthesis from primary and secondary alcohols, we don't need any kind of catalysts. Only the hydroiodic acid will be sufficient for the conversion. Obviously, the primary alcohols will proceed via SN2 mechanism. The displacement will occur via SN2 mechanism. And for secondary alcohols, it will proceed via either SN1 or SN2, since it is not sterically hindered, as well as it can form moderately stable carbocation, and that's why it can go through either SN1 or SN2 pathway. But our product is the desired cyclohexyl iodide. So it does not matter by which mechanism the product is forming, as soon as we are getting our desired product. Alkyl iodide formation can be also achieved by treatment of either sodium iodide or potassium iodide in presence of concentrated phosphoric acid. So if you take either sodium iodide and potassium iodide in presence of concentrated phosphoric acid, you can also achieve a good yield during the transformation of primary alcohols into the primary iodide. And this condition is also applied in case of secondary alcohols also. The percentage of this concentrated phosphoric acid is generally 95%. Now the problem during the synthesis of alkyl halides from alcohols is the rearrangement during the reaction. So if we take this particular alcohol which is known as neopentyl alcohol, and we treat this with HBr, we get a mixture of products, primary halide, primary bromide as well as secondary bromide and tertiary bromide, all are obtained in a mixture. So how we can explain their formation? So if we quickly look at the mechanism, then we can easily explain this. So obviously the first step will be the protonation. And this OH will be converted in a good leaving group. Then this carbon oxygen bond will break, and this will produce the carbocation. And then what will happen? This methyl group will shift via a 1,2 shift, thereby producing a more stable tertiary cation. Also, this tertiary cation can also undergo shift, and this time it will undergo a hydride shift. One to hydride shift, and this will produce the secondary carbocation. So initially we got our primary cation, then the tertiary, and then the secondary, and now they will be attacked by the nucleophile present in the reaction mixture, which is of course the bromide. And this will lead to the formation of 3 products. So the products will be, this will be the primary bromide, this will be our tertiary bromide, and this will be our secondary bromide. So this mixture of products we will obtain during this type of reaction. Okay, so this is it for the alkyl halide preparation via the treatment of halogen acids. Now let us consider some other reactions. So if you want to convert this alcohol into the corresponding chloride, let's say, then there is a method via the treatment of phosphorus pentachloride or phosphorus trichloride. Both these reagents will give us the corresponding chloride. And now let us consider the mechanism. So this is our second transformation of alcohols into the corresponding chloride. So what will be the mechanism in case of PCl5? So this is basically the structure of PCl5, and this OH group will essentially attack this phosphorus center, displacing 1 Cl minus, and thereby this particular intermediate will form. So oxygen will be positively charged and the chloride will remain in vicinity as a counter anion. So right now what will happen, this chloride will attack from the backside of this carbon oxygen single bond, and this bond will essentially break, and it will lead to the formation of the alkyl halide along with the formation of, which will be essentially converted into this compound. Right? So this is the overall reaction when PCl5 is used for chlorination. And now if we consider the reaction with phosphorus trichloride, then initially this phosphorus trichloride will react with 3 molecules of this alcohol, and thereby it will form this particular compound. And then also along with these 3 molecules of HCl will form in the reaction medium. Right? So now what will happen, this phosphorus lone pair will be protonated by the H plus present in the reaction medium. And phosphorus will be positively charged after this protonation, and then one molecule of Cl minus will essentially attack one of this OR group, and this attack will take place at the carbon oxygen from the backside of this carbon oxygen single bond, and this after this carbon oxygen single bond breaks, phosphorus oxygen double bond will be formed. And via this process, one molecule of alkyl chloride will form along with the formation of this right. So then another molecule of HX or HCl will react with this compound, and in this time this oxygen lone pair will be protonated. So I am doing the protonation, and after the protonation this Cl minus will attack either of these OR groups, and thereby another molecule of RCl will form, along with the formation of this compound. Right? So again one more protonation step will take place. This time this oxygen lone pair, and it will produce this particular protonated species, and then the Cl minus will attack this group, and thereby phosphorus acid will form along with the formation of another molecule of alkyl chloride. Right? So we are getting one molecule of alkyl chloride, two molecule, and here is our third molecule of alkyl chloride. Right? So this is the mechanism when PCl3 is used. So our third synthetic route is simple treatment of any alcohol with thionyl chloride, and thereby we can get our desired alkyl chloride derivatives as a product. So obviously the reaction is SNI reaction. So if the stereochemistry is not important thing for you in the resulting compound, then you can carry out this reaction in presence or absence of pyridine. But if you want to retain the stereochemistry of the starting alcohol, then you have to perform this reaction in absence of any kind of nucleophilic solvent or pyridine. So let us quickly consider the mechanism. So initially, the reaction between this alcohol and thionyl chloride will produce a chlorosulfide intermediate. So this is basically our chlorosulfide intermediate, and then this will undergo a bond dissociation, and thereby sulfur dioxide will release from the system. This will be the carbocation. So from this side, this whole group actually eliminated, and as soon as the Cl minus is formed, it will be in this side. So the attack will take place from this side. Cl minus will have no chance to attack from that side, and that's why the stereochemistry will be retained, right? So this is the mechanism of SNI reaction. So if pyridine is added, then you will get the inversion, and in that situation what will happen, this chlorosulfide will undergo the reaction between pyridine, and it will eventually attack the sulfur center, thereby eliminating the Cl minus from the system, and you will get this as the intermediate. Now the Cl minus will attack from the backside in an SN2 fashion, and it will give you the inverted halide as well as sulfur dioxide and the pyridine. So this is basically the role of pyridine to invert the stereochemistry in the resulting product. So these are basically the reactions via which you can transform any alcohol into the corresponding halides. So this is it. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video.